Hi everyone, welcome to my weekly episode of Show Me How It's Done. I'm your host, Lauren Bonus, and I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator in Canada. So I hope you had a great Thanksgiving if you are one of my Canadian friends. If not, just so you know, in Canada this last weekend, it was our Thanksgiving holiday. So we spent a lot of time with our family and friends and ate lots of turkey and pumpkin pie. But if you're like my family, we also have apple crisps. So I have decided to play with the Apple Harvest stamp set for our card this week. I figured we'll go with the little fall theme. It's not quite winter yet, but don't worry, there will be lots and lots of Christmas cards coming. So for this Apple Harvest stamp set, you can still purchase it. It's in our annual 2022 to 2023 catalog. So that'll be good until next spring. Last month there was a promotion called Perfect Pairings, and you were able to purchase dies that coordinated with the set. So I did, and I'm actually using one of the dies today, but I'm going to show you a way that you can still do the project if you don't own the dies, because of course you can still get the stamp, but you can't get those dies because they were just released as a one-off kind of fun promotion last month. So I'm going to set that guy aside, and you'll see here, this is the little card that we're going to make. So if you want to follow along with me, I have all of the pieces cut and all the measurements that I'll give you. If you'd like to watch and enjoy, then you can always look in the description later, and all of that information will be there as well. Okay, so we are starting with a card base of Sweet Sorbet, and this is going to be 5.5 by 8.5, and I've put this little score mark in the middle at 4 1/4, so that when I fold this in half, I need to move that, sorry, and burnish it with my nice bone folder, you have a great card that opens and closes. Okay, now for our card, of course, we always like to decorate something on the inside, so we need just a piece of basic white cardstock. I realize I don't have that right here, so good thing I always keep a set of them cut and ready to go. Here we go. So a piece of basic white cardstock, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I am just using my double-sided tape to get that inside. Again, if you are a seal person or a glue person, whatever flat adhesive you love, you go ahead and use that. There we go. So this is just on the inside of my card. You can always come back later and maybe add some detailing with some of the extra stamps. I thought this stitched look or the small flower might look really nice. That's up to you. I like to leave mine blank until I actually know who I'm giving them for, because I might run out of space when I'm writing. So I'm just gonna leave that one. Now, the last 2 pieces, I'm actually going to get you to cut them, but we're going to work with them one at a time, okay? So our piece of Granny Apple Green is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And instead of attaching this right now onto the card, I would like you to decide whether you want to add this fun little fringe look or not. So how to do that is you take a pair of scissors and just open them. These are the Stampin' Snips. And you'll just run it across the edge, and maybe you can see that it's starting to kind of fray on this half as opposed to this one. I know the camera kind of refocuses on whatever it thinks I should be highlighting, but I just kind of do a few little passes, rubbing across that edge, and it'll break it up for you so that it's not so straight. Okay, so if you want to add that feature, hopefully you can see the difference between kind of a piece that's been ruffled and a piece that's straight. Do that now, and then attach this to your card front with dimensionals. We want this Granny Apple Green to pop out and be kind of one of the focuses on your card. There we go. Popping that up with dimensionals. Then after you've attached this green piece, your base can go to the side for a few minutes because we need to work on the basic white. All right, so this is now attached. We're gonna set that to the side. The last piece you need to cut is another basic white, but this one is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay, so lots of fun to be had here. We're going to start by adding our flower. So I've got my Memento Black Ink and I've mounted flower, my apples. I've added my apples to a block. I'm gonna ink those up, make sure I get all parts of that stamp inked. And this is going to go in kind of the top section of your workspace. Okay, so there's a nice, beautiful block. So to do your coloring, totally up to you what colors you use. I went with kind of the traditional apple red, but of course there are green apples, there are yellow apples, whatever you like. So I've grabbed my bronze marker and I'm going to start by first going over the couple sections Stampin' Up! Has added shading to. And then just to keep this video moving for you, I'm not going to do as much shading as I typically would. I would kind of add different layers of color here or there, but for the branch, you don't really need to. It's so tiny of a space that you're working in. We'll do more shading on the leaves and on your apples. Okay, so branch, just easy. You can use the bronze or you can use any of the browns if you have the natural tones set. Next, I'm going to do my leaves, and I went with the light and the dark in the Granny Apple Green, so we're matching our paper colors. You're going to start with your dark Granny Apple, and everywhere that Stampin' Up! Has these little veins or any sort of shading, doesn't have to be perfect. Please don't feel like you have to do it exactly, but just roughly add a little bit of dark coloring, okay? So I'm literally just tracing those lines in a very fast and messy way so that I have my dark color laid down first. And there's lots of leaves, I'm sorry. Sometimes I try to have some of this done, but figured you guys have to be coloring along with me too, so we're good. Okay, so there's my dark leaves. Now with your light Granny Apple Green, you're going to come and color the entire leaf, including the places that you've already colored. I like to kind of just trace roughly around the edge and then add lots and lots of color to that middle. So I'm going right over the stems and the veins that I've already colored. And that way I'm pulling the color from the dark, but I'm also leaving that shadow effect. And as this dries a little bit, those colors will blend even more. Okay. Here we go. My green is getting a little burnt out, I think. Been using it a lot. So you can see it's just really nice, kind of two shades in your leaves. And I'm having to add a little bit more than you will because my green is running dry. So that's okay. Guess I know what I will be ordering. Worst comes to worst, you can always swap out for Parakeet Party. Let's do that. That one's very similar. If you use the dark parakeet, you could always add that in. I don't know if I want to. I'm so close. We can do this. It'll just look like my leaves are losing their color, like all the ones outside right now. All right, that's as good as she's gonna get. Put that one aside to throw it away. Okay, and then your reds, I have chosen the light and the dark sweet sorbet. So again, we're starting with our dark, and there's some nice shadow looks kind of on your apples. So just do a few little scribbles in there. There are some people out there who color amazing. I am not one of them. That's why I like these blends, because they seem to make up for my faults. So I just scribbled a little bit in that space, and then I'm just going to come up with my light sweet sorbet and color in those apples. Okay, you can kind of come over a couple times. There we go. Nice juicy red apple. Love it. Okay, so now for your apple, it would look great if all you wanted to do right now is to put it onto your base and stamp a sentiment. But hopefully you can see it. I have a little bit of blue shadowing in the background of this, so it almost looks like it's kind of popping out of the scene. So the way that I do that is by using the Stampin' Up! Masking paper. So I mentioned I used a die on this. So you take the masking paper, and it's basically kind of like a Post-it, but it's a Post-it the entire way. So the piece is going to cover my apple so that I can add a blue background. You'll see how it works. But I'm going to take my die set and just cut out this little blank apple. If you do not own the dies, you are going to just stamp the apple onto here, and you'll have to fussy cut around that shape. Okay, so I'm going to grab my cut and emboss machine. We've got our little apple here. Okay, so on the masking paper, put your cover on top and then roll it through. It's a very thin paper, so you will only need to do this once. But it's an amazing effect, so you'll probably want to keep doing it. Okay, and then you'll pull off the backing. So just kind of pull off this, whatever side is not sticky. This one here is garbage. And then you're going to take this piece and line it up over your apples. Okay. Oh, sometimes there's two little parts. There we go. There. Okay. So this looks rather funny, but it's the perfect palette for you to grab a blending brush and your pool party ink. And we're going to just start by picking up some color by rubbing this in a circle on our ink pad. And then I like to start on top of the masking paper here because that will be the darkest color, and I want it kind of to come out around the leaves. So just a nice circular motion, building that blue just out of the leaves a little bit. You don't have to go right to the edge of the papers, but just come out around each of the leaves and the stems. I like to do a full perimeter first, then you can always decide if you'd like it darker. There we go. That's lots of blue, so you can see it just the tiniest little bit. But now when we take off this masking paper, and I'm just gonna peek up a couple edges so you can see the difference. See the difference? You see the blue and then the white tiny little border and then your apple. Okay, so continue pulling this one back. And this one's a very detailed die, so you'll need to just go gently. But doesn't stick to your paper, just comes off with the leaves like this. Some of the solid images you can pull off in one shot, but I find this guy is a little less forgiving. There we go. Oh, got a tiny bit. Oh well. Okay, so there is the project. You can see I did accidentally pull up a tiny bit there. Doesn't usually happen, but that's okay. And before I attach this to the card, I did want a sentiment. So this one is from that Apple Harvest stamp. It says, "The greatest gift is a good friend." Because of course, Thanksgiving is time of being grateful and thinking about things that are good. Okay, there's this. We're going to attach this onto your green, and I want it kind of nestled in there, so I'm going to just use double-sided tape again. If you want, you can pop it up because there's not much dimensionalized on this card, but didn't feel like it needed it. There we go. And there is your card. Nice and done and beautiful, ready to give away. So yes, get this masking paper because it's super fun. On that note, I do want to share with you one little promotion that's going on this month. If you're somebody who's kind of looking at some of these videos and thinking, oh man, my wish list is just getting crazy, I did want to just mention that our starter kits this month, you can pick out $206 worth of product and pay only $135, which is a fantastic deal. You don't pay shipping, you don't pay GST on that first order, and so you're ending up saving, you know, at least $150, which is pretty much equivalent to the amount that you're paying. So it's a really nice option for you. If you've got a giant wish list, if you're in Canada, I'd love to have you on my team. We have lots of ladies who are not in Edmonton with me, so we just do our meetings via Facebook. And you can go to the website on the bottom of my page, click join. And of course, please reach out if you have any questions. If you're not in Canada, then just go to stampinup.com and there's a little demonstrator locator button in the top left, and you can find someone close to you to take advantage of this kit. There's no penalties for not continuing it as a business, but if you want, you can get a 20% discount for your supplies after that $135. So it's a good option. If you have questions about it, I'd love to chat. And if you like these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so that I can do more of them for you. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!